Hi there, my name is Whitney and welcome to TEFLPros. TEFLPros is your source for learning how to teach English both overseas and online. On today's call, I sat down with our recent grad, Wendy, to hear all about her experience on our TEFLPros Plus course. Hey, Wendy.
Hi. Hey, Whitney.
How's it going?
It's going awesome. I am
Big
thrilled.
congratulations. You just
Thank you.
graduated today.
Wow.
Exciting.
It's interesting. It's like you're doing a marathon and then all of a sudden you're at the end. It's like, well, you still have a little momentum going, but now here it's a different point.
Well, thanks for taking
Thank you. I'm so grateful. I am so grateful to this course.
well, we're grateful to have had you on the course, Wendy. You've been a fabulous participant. And thank you for taking some time out of your day today to share with folks a little bit about your experience. We appreciate it.
My pleasure. It is.
So the first thing that we always ask folks is if you wouldn't mind just sharing with people a little bit about what your life was like prior to getting into the field of TEFL.
Okay. Well, I have had a lot of travel in my life. I love to travel. I love other cultures. I grew up just outside New York City. I grew up with a lot of diversity. I just couldn't be happier when there's lots of different cultures and languages around me. I went some of my schooling as a movement therapist. I went to school with people from a lot of different countries, and my background is in healthcare. I was a nurse. I'm a nurse, and I've been a body worker and movement therapist for almost 40 years. And I work also a lot with people with like brain injury, with major communication difficulties, and also young children with big disabilities. So as far as language goes, I also work with nonverbal population. And I just always want to give them credit because I think they've taught me more than anything about listening and communication and connection. But when I was in college, in nursing school, I was on a work study, and my job was teaching was conversational English. It was in upstate New York near Cornell University, and there were a lot of foreign students coming to Cornell, absolutely the brilliant of the brilliant from all different countries. They weren't quite ready for Cornell simply because their English wasn't up to speed. So they came to this community college, did some of their prerequisite stuff, and took and had conversational English as part of their thing. And that was my work study, and it was a blast. I loved it. You know, sometimes it was just helping them read the newspaper. So a lot of it was pronunciation, but real conversation. It wasn't just that they could understand or read it, but that they could actually be in real life conversation with people. So that was a long time ago. I guess that was maybe 1977. But getting certified in this is something that's kind of, I never thought I had a bucket list, but I think if I did, this was on it. And I spent some time in Thailand a couple of times, but just last year, and it just came up again as because I want to do some work around therapies there, and it was very hard. A lot of the people and therapists didn't speak English, and it just brought the whole language thing up for me again. And so when I got back, I was like, I'm just gonna get certified. I don't know where it's gonna go, but you know, I do want to travel more, and it could possibly give me an income when I'm somewhere, income and sense of purpose, because that's really important to me. So yeah, It really feels like it's part of my path, I guess I could say.
And so you came back from Thailand, you're like, okay, I'm kind of reintroduced to this idea of getting certified in TEFL. What was the research process like for you, Wendy?
Well, it was the Google thing. I just Googled different program. First, I Googled kind of the subject, and then, a million different possibilities come up, and different and price ranges as well. And I didn't expect to spend this much, but when I saw, and I don't remember exactly what it was. I think it was that you offered a free class or something. Like I saw TEFL Pros, and that, well, the first thing was that you would do a interview call, just like you're available just to have a conversation and meet you and learn about the program. I thought that's good because I'm not a real online person. So the fact that I could, interact with someone and get a sense of what the program was about and all that. And then if I wanted to, I don't even think I took the free lesson, but I had the Zoom call with you. And that sold me, for one thing, that here is someone with tremendous experience and real care about the subject and expertise and availability. This wasn't just like pay your money and do the whatever it is online and we'll hand you a certificate. It's like, no, you're available. And I just felt so much from that. And it meant a lot to me that every week you could go on 2 Zoom calls and actually meet people and ask questions, because like I said, I'm not a real technical online person. I didn't even have a computer for a large part of this. I mean, I have in my past. I did a lot of work with nonprofits and I got burnt out. So I basically put my computer away for like 5 years. I didn't want to see one. But yeah, it was a personal availability, and I felt just a real thoughtfulness, and now having taken it, the creativity in it, the style of learning and the philosophy. I think I was just lucky that I stumbled on your course.
Oh,
No, really, I feel like it was such a fit for me. So, because I was nervous, like, yeah, just because you have a certification doesn't mean you know how to do it. I was smart enough to know, no, just having a piece of paper and certification does not mean you can stand in front of a classroom and be an effective teacher. So I needed to learn how to become a teacher in this framework.
so you got started and then you started working through the course, and we were talking right before this call that that process ended up being a little bit different than what you initially anticipated, like timeline wise, and just the process of going through it. Would you mind sharing any experiences, anything that stood out about the course or about the process of going through it, Wendy?
Sure. Well, I will admit in the very beginning was absolutely terrifying. And I thought, I don't know if I can do this. Because just the whole idea of lesson plans and this and that, absolutely. I thought, whoa, I'm a somewhat confident person in the things I know, but this was like, whoa, this is like really teaching. It brought up all my issues of getting through school, of like, I don't know how to do this, just wing it, listen real hard in class, spit it back, get it right on the test, come out, everyone thinks you're really smart. I didn't know how to learn. I mean, I learned how to get through the system. And I went through a very good school system, luckily. So osmosis, I learned a lot. But I didn't have that kind of discipline of studying. And it was really clear to me, this isn't about passing.
Mm,
This is really about
learning.
you're going to be one of those people on that video.
Yeah.
And it was hard in the lesson plan, but I remember you saying, because it's right in the beginning that you do all those lesson plans, and you said, just get through this part. Really, this is the hardest section. It's the hardest part, but I had to really hold my own hand through it. And then I had mentioned that I had to do a lot of traveling. I had some very big life things come up that I had to put it aside for months, come back. So it was kind of, I didn't have a full continuity. And like I said, I didn't have a computer. So I was doing it on my phone and transcribing everything. It was sort of like kind of crazy. And then I decided to go when it was time, like I had gone through all the modules and I'd done my assignments, but I wanted to go through and redo my assignments before I turned them in. And I looked at them and they were terrible. After I had gone through the whole thing, I looked back and went, oh, these are like really not up to par. So I actually went through the whole course again. And had a notebook that I'd written so much down. I practically copied the whole class because I needed to write and see it. So I went through it again, highlighted things, realized, oh my God, oh yeah, I remember that. But I really had to have that review, and I would do it again because now I'm actually more into it now. Before it was like out there. Now I'm like in. Now I want to know how do we. Now I'm sort of in the realm of it. So that's like something I would really recommend is repetition of the lessons and watching the videos and then doing the lesson plans and then watching a video again to actually see, would this work? Because there are like two phases. The idea of it, yeah, I could write a nice little idea, but then actualizing it might be a whole other thing. How long would it take? What would it look like? The ideas come quickly, but to step it down to be doable so people really absorb the lesson. Yeah, it's vast. I had no idea what I was getting myself into.
Well, and I love hearing the process that you went through, Wendy, with it and all the repetition that you built into your study process. Because, honestly, you come from a background where you did a lot of teaching. Some folks, they're getting into their TEFL process having never been in that role before. Could be completely different from language teaching, but just never being in that role of an instructor or a teacher. But you had tons of experience with it, and it really shines through in how you not only approach the course, but also your lesson planning. We were giving Wendy lots of props here at the beginning of the call today that her lesson plans were like magnificent, like so thoughtful.
It's shocking. I did not at all think they were anywhere near magnificent. I was hoping they were passable.
They're very thoughtfully designed, and I think that just the fact that you can build on your life experience and then take your time going through it and really, like you say, try to internalize what you're learning, not just like memorize it for a test. It's very, very different, to approach it in that way.
Yeah.
So before we hop off here, any advice that you would offer to someone who's perhaps considering getting a TEFL certification?
Well, I certainly couldn't recommend this course highly enough. Highly enough. I know there's a lot of programs out there, and I know the price range, there's a long, continuum of price. This is worth every single penny and more. I mean, I feel like it's a responsibility, if you're going, especially into another country and culture, and you're teaching and you're representative of English and our culture, to be really well prepared. And I think that learning a language is such a interesting thing, and communication is what the world turns on, so I mean, I really didn't know much. Like I told you before, I think I just was guided. There was an angel on my shoulder saying, go here. These are your people. Um, because I, I have taught a lot of different subjects and different things. And so I feel like I can assess when something is deeply thought out, that there's a philosophy behind it, that it's consistently through. And again, like that you were incredibly available. Incredibly available. There was more than once I went, I don't think I can do this, in the lesson plan thing. And you're like, you can, you can, you can, and that there were other people on the calls, and then the Facebook thing. And I just thought there were all these cool things where you post your little thing and someone goes, yay, good job. There was a sense of, as much as you could utilize this technological realm for real teaching, I feel like it's brilliant, and just the whole, like the philosophy of how you teach English, and the experience level, and the understanding of different types of intelligence, whether it's kinesthetic and auditory and all that. I just think it's wonderful. I'd recommend this high in it. I don't know what else is out there, but I don't know. I'm guessing there's not that many that are this quality.
Thanks, Wendy.
Genuinely, just really genuinely, and you're so available. It made all the difference in the world.